Hello class 10th students, welcome in the class of biology. Okay, so today we are going to start our first chapter, the life processes. आज हम शुरू करने वाले हैं अपनी बायो की यूनिट का पहला चैप्टर, जिसे हम बोलते हैं लाइफ प्रोसेसेस. लाइफ प्रोसेसेस क्या होते हैं, what are the different types of life processes that are found in the living world. कितने अलग अलग तरीके के लाइफ प्रोसेसेस पाए जाते हैं, ये क्या होते हैं, उन्हें आज हमें शुरुआत करनी है. तो हम कुछ शुरुआत करते हैं कुछ बेसिक क्वेश्चन से. लेट अस इनिशिएट विद सम वेरी बेसिक क्वेश्चंस. दोस क्वेश्चंस आर, व्हाट इज लाइफ? लाइफ क्या है? You look around yourself in this world, you will see us booming with life. आप जब अपने चारों तरफ देखते हैं दुनिया में, तो आपको दिखाई देता है कि अर्थ में चारों तरफ लाइफ ही लाइफ है. There are several different types of living organisms that you can find. You can find animal species, you can find plant species, you can find different types of species of different living organisms across the world. आपको animal species मिलती हैं, such as the Curvus domesticus, that can be moving from one place to another. Okay, you find different types of plant species, so I've gotten some plants for you. Okay, you can find the different types of plant species, you can find the different types of animal species in the living world around you. But how do you categorize anything that is living or non-living nature? So how you are going to categorize those things? So basically, what is life? Life है क्या? अगर हम बायोलॉजी के टर्म में देखें तो लाइफ है क्या? लाइफ इज सिंपली एन एरे ऑफ बायोकेमिकल रिएक्शंस. लाइफ क्या है? लाइफ को अगर हमें डिफाइन करना है, डेफिनेशंस बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट होती हैं. तो अगर हमें लाइफ को डिफाइन करना है, लाइफ इट इज simply an array of biochemical reactions in between chemical agents providing energy to catalyze the different biological processes and functions. Providing energy to catalyze different biological processes and functions. So what happens in the case of life? Life is just an array of biochemical reactions. Life क्या है? Life biochemical reaction से मिलकर बनी हुई है. इन बायोकेमिकल रिएक्शन में केमिकल कंपाउंड्स आपस में रिएक्ट करते हैं, कुछ प्रोडक्ट्स बनाते हैं और हमें मिलती है सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज, दैट इज एनर्जी. और उसी एनर्जी को हमारे सेल्स इस्तेमाल करते हैं और उस एनर्जी को इस्तेमाल करके हमारे सेल्स हमारी बॉडी के अलग अलग प्रोसेसेस को कैटलाइज कराते हैं. इसी एनर्जी को यूज करके हमारे बॉडी के सेल्स जो होते हैं वो अलग अलग तरीके के बॉडी के अंदर प्रोसेसेस, बायोलॉजिकल प्रोसेसेस और लाइफ प्रोसेसेस को कैटलाइज कराते हैं. सो दिस इज रेफर्ड टू एज द फंडामेंटल डेफिनेशन ऑफ लाइफ. नाउ व्हिच आर द की कैरेक्टरिस्टिक फीचर ऑफ life? Characteristic feature of life क्या है? How can you say that which are the different characteristic feature of life? Life की क्या क्या characteristic feature है, हमें वो देखने की जरूरत है कि what are the characteristic feature of life? Characteristic feature of life. Characteristic features of life. Which are the characteristic feature of life? The first characteristic feature that you can think, अगर आप किसी चीज को लिविंग बोलते हो तो उसे लिविंग क्यों बोलते हो? क्या वो फीचर्स होते हैं जो एक चीज को लिविंग बनाते हैं और दूसरी चीज को नॉन लिविंग या डेड बना देते हैं? तो लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म के क्या कैरेक्टरिस्टिक फीचर होते हैं? फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ यू लुक अराउंड यू विल फाइंड सर्टेन एनिमल्स. व्हेन यू फाइंड सर्टेन एनिमल्स, okay, then what happens? You see that this is an animal, this animal is going to grow. So first and the most powerful association of the living characteristic is that these organisms have the capability for their own growth. इन organisms के पास में capability होती है कि अपनी growth करा सके. कैसे growth हो सकती है? That means the first characteristic feature of the living organism is growth. Each and every living organism has the ability to grow, has the ability to grow. Now, this growth can be measured in terms of number of cells और वॉल्यूम ऑफ सेल्स. ग्रोथ हम मेजर कर सकते हैं नंबर ऑफ सेल्स और वॉल्यूम ऑफ सेल्स पे. जैसे कि आप मुझे देख सकते हैं, अभी मेरी बिल्कुल ग्रोथ नहीं दिख रही है, अब मेरी ग्रोथ हो चुकी है. वो ग्रोथ कैसे हो गई? इंक्रीज इन द वॉल्यूम. सो इंक्रीज इन द वॉल्यूम कैन आल्सो बी रेफर्ड टू एज अ ग्रोथ. हैज द एबिलिटी टू ग्रो. दिस growth can be measured in terms of increase in number of cells or volume of cell or the biomass of an organism So growth is going to take place within the biomass of an organism. देखिए, अगर इंक्रीज हो रहा है नंबर, इंक्रीज हो रहा है वॉल्यूम, इंक्रीज हो रहा है साइज, तो इंक्रीज क्या हो रहा है? इंक्रीज इन द बायोमास इज अ मेथड टू मेजर द अमाउंट ऑफ ग्रोथ दैट हैज टेकिंग प्लेस इन एन ऑर्गेनिज्म. एक ऑर्गेनिज्म की ग्रोथ को हम इंक्रीज इन बायोमास से मेजर कर सकते हैं. नाउ द ग्रोथ कैन बी फॉलोड by another very important characteristic feature. This plant is also growing. Okay, this plant is also going to increase in its size. Of course, this is artificial, but the naturally occurring plants, they are going to increase in their size. When they are going to increase in their size, that means that you are saying that the growth is taking place. But there is another characteristic feature which differentiates this plant from this animal, and that characteristic feature is the locomotion. This animal has the ability to move from one location to another, whereas this plant is sessile and is not able to move from one location to another. That is why the second most important characteristic feature for determining the life is locomotion. ये एनिमल तो एक जगह से दूसरी जगह जा सकता है, लेकिन ये प्लांट एक जगह से दूसरी जगह खुद नहीं जा सकता. तो सेकंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक फीचर जो कि लाइफ को मेजर करता है वो क्या है? वो है लोकोमोशन. Okay, I'm keeping this plant here. Okay, I'm keeping it there. Second most important characteristic feature is that is referred to as locomotion. So this is also an important characteristic feature. The movement of an organism from one place to the other is referred to as locomotion. Okay, this is the movement of an organism from one place to another is referred to as locomotion. Now, locomotion must be differentiated from movement. One is the organism is locomoting from one place to another. Another one, it's another cell is locomoting. It's another cell. A single cell can also have certain locomotion abilities. For example, amoeba has the ability to move from one location to another. That is locomotion. I am standing here. Supposing I am standing still, but still the alveoli which are present in the lungs are moving because I am inspiring and I am expiring. The heart is still beating. Because the heart is still beating, that means there is an intramolecular movement is taking place now in our body. क्योंकि आपका दिल अभी भी धड़क रहा है, क्योंकि आपके लंग्स अभी भी एक्सपैंड हो रहे हैं, कंप्रेस हो रहे हैं, जिसकी वजह से मूवमेंट तो हो रहा है. मूवमेंट बॉडी के अंदर होता ही रहता है. यानी कि मूवमेंट को अगर मैं दो तरीके से कैटेगराइज कर दूं तो एक हो सकता है एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर और एक हो सकता है इंट्रा सेलुलर. कभी कभी पेट में अजीब अजीब सा मूवमेंट हो जाता है लोगों का एक ही तरीके का खाना खा के लॉकडाउन में, तो दैट इज ऑल्सो एन एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर मूवमेंट. सेल के अंदर नहीं हो रहा, इंटेस्टाइन में हो रहा है भाई, तो इसे बोलेंगे एक्स्ट्रा सेलुलर मूवमेंट. अगर हम बैक्टीरिया की बात करें तो बैक्टीरिया के अंदर या प्रोकैरियोट्स के बारे में बात करें तो प्रोकैरियोट्स के अंदर तो ना तो उनके अंदर ग्रोथ होती हुई दिखती है क्योंकि वो तो डिवाइड कर जाते हैं, तो उनकी ग्रोथ साइज में तो होती नहीं है. लोकोमोशन, कई ऐसे प्रोकैरियोट्स भी हैं जिनके अंदर लोकोमोशन की एबिलिटीज नहीं है, वो एक जगह से दूसरी जगह मूव नहीं कर पाते, तो वहां पर हम देखते हैं इंट्रासेलुलर मूवमेंट। और एक और कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स है जिसे हम देखने वाले हैं, द थर्ड इज रेफर्ड टू एज रिप्रोडक्शन। सो नाउ फर्स्टली लेट अस कैटेगराइज द मूवमेंट इनटू द टू डिफरेंट टाइप्स। द movement can be categorized into two different types. One is intracellular movement, another one could be extracellular movement. What do you mean by intracellular movement? Intracellular movement can be cytoplasmic streaming. कई प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल में, कई बैक्टीरिया या बाकी प्रोकैरियोटिक सेल में उनके साइटोप्लाज्म में एबिलिटीज होती है कि साइटोप्लाज्म मूव कर सकता है। दैट इज कॉमनली रेफर्ड टू एज साइटोप्लाज्मिक स्ट्रीमिंग। इंट्रासेलुलर मूवमेंट फॉर द मूवमेंट ऑफ साइटोप्लाज्म इन अ सेल, of cytoplasm in a cell. The movement of cytoplasm in a cell. For example, cytoplasmic streaming is referred to as intracellular movement. What do you mean by extracellular movement? Extracellular movement is outside the cell if the movement is taking place. For example, if the movement is taking place with cilia, with flagella, that the entire body of the cell is moving, then it is referred to as extracellular movement. The movement or locomotion, the movement via the use of cilia, flagella, pseudopodia, etc. will be all referred to as an extracellular movement that is taking place outside the body, outside the cell. Then it is extracellular movement. But now, in the case of prokaryotes, what is going to happen? Supposedly, not all the characteristic feature must be present. This is the plant leaf. Okay? If we are taking a plant leaf, and if this leaf has been taken, then what is going to happen? This leaf is also going to increase in its size. As this leaf is going to increase in its size, so there is a apparent growth that we can visualize. Okay? Now, the second key important characteristic feature is locomotion. This leaf cannot move from one location to another. But then what? There are veins which are present. And from this, the materials will be transferred across the plant body from the roots till the shoot tip, so that the xylem will help in the transportation of water and minerals from the root to the shoot tip, and from the shoot tip the phloem will help in the translocation of the food material towards the entire plant body. So locomotion is still taking place, movement is still taking place. That is intracellular movement, because xylem vesicles will help in the translocation of water, so it is intracellular. ये intracellular इसलिए है क्योंकि water xylem vesicles के अंदर ट्रांसपोर्ट हो रहा है, phloem vesicles के अंदर ट्रांसपोर्ट हो रहा है फूड मटेरियल का, इसीलिए ये इसके अंदर जो ट्रांसपोर्टेशन हो रहा है वो क्या हो जाएगा? इंट्रासेलुलर। आप भी तो रेस्पायर करें, you are also respiring, every living organism in this world is respiring, so that is also the movement is taking place in our body, and the exchange of gases is taking place within the alveoli of our lungs. Then after locomotion, the third and the most important characteristic feature that you must know is, in the case of prokaryotes, sometimes growth is not taking place because they are dividing constantly after 20 minutes. Prokaryote just like E. coli, prokaryote जैसे कि E. coli 20 मिनट में ही डिवाइड कर सकते हैं, तो हम प्रॉपर्ली इनकी ग्रोथ को मेजर नहीं कर सकते। तो उसके लिए हम क्या करते हैं? हम उसके लिए ये देखते हैं कि उनकी ग्रोथ नंबर में हो रही है। दूसरी चीज हम ये देखते हैं रिप्रोडक्शन हो रहा है कि नहीं। Reproduction means whether an organism can form new organism of its same type under favorable environmental conditions. Why reproduction is a key essential characteristic feature of living organism? Because there are certain living organisms which will not have growth, which will not have locomotion, which will not divide under any external environmental condition but only in a precise environmental condition such as viruses. कुछ ऐसे ऑर्गेनिज्म हैं जिनके अंदर ग्रोथ नहीं होती, वायरसेस के अंदर ग्रोथ नहीं होती, साइज नहीं बढ़ता, वायरसेस एक जगह से दूसरी जगह मूव नहीं करते, लेकिन वायरसेस भी लिविंग हैं अगर वो सेल के अंदर है. Viruses are usually a connecting link between living and dead. But in the case of viruses also, reproduction, that means increase in the number of viruses when suitable environmental conditions are being provided, is measured as a measure of life processes. ऐसे तो कोरोना वायरस भी लिविंग है, भाई नॉन लिविंग है सेल के बाहर, लेकिन जब हमारी बॉडी के अंदर पहुंच गया तो क्या हो गया, वो लिविंग हो गया, क्योंकि उसे एक अपना सेल मिल गया जिसके अंदर वो डिवाइड कर सकता है. सो द थर्ड कैरेक्टरिस्टिक फीचर ऑफ अ लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म इज रिप्रोडक्शन. This is the third characteristic feature, reproduction. Each and every living organism, each and every living organism must be able to reproduce, to produce similar organism, under ideal environmental condition. This phenomena is referred to as reproduction. Each and every living organism must be able to produce similar organism under ideal environmental condition. Every organism must have the ability to produce similar type of organism under ideal environmental condition. This is a key characteristic feature of all living organisms. For example, that could be effectively understood with the example of viruses. Viruses do not grow outside the cell. Okay, these do not grow outside the cell, do not show any movement, do not move, or cannot perform locomotion, but still have the ability to reproduce under ideal environmental condition. Still, these viruses have the ability to reproduce under ideal environmental condition, have the ability to reproduce under ideal environmental condition. So viruses are considered to be living when coming in contact with their host cell. Thus, viruses are said to be living. When coming in contact with their host cell. When these comes into contact with their host cell. Okay, so these are the certain characteristic feature of the living organism. Okay, So viruses are considered to be a connecting link between living and dead, but are considered to be living when they are coming in contact with their host cell. What is a dead organism? A dead organism is an organism which was living during its lifespan but has died out because certain key critical life processes are not एनी मोर वर्किंग। एक डेड ऑर्गेनिज्म क्या होता है? जो कभी लिविंग था, जो कभी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक फीचर डिस्प्ले करता था लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म के, लेकिन अब उसकी डेथ हो गई है, अब वो कोई भी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक फीचर ऑर्गेनिज्म के, लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म के डिस्प्ले नहीं करता है। दैट ऑर्गेनिज्म इज सेड टू बी डेड। नाउ द नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट इज दैट which are the different types of life processes which occur in the lifespan of an organism। कौन कौन से लाइफ प्रोसेसेस एक ऑर्गेनिज्म के लाइफ स्पैन में होते हैं? हमें लाइफ प्रोसेसेस के बारे में देखना है। Now there is a question, when we say an organism is said to be living, an organism is said to be living, an organism is said to be living when the organism can grow, can move, or can show locomotion, display locomotion, display extracellular, intracellular locomotion, or has the capability for reproduction, then the organism is said to be living. Now what do you mean by life processes? Life processes, or let me define a dead individual. A dead individual, it is an individual which was living in the past but now do not display any characteristic life processes of living organism, such as, which are the different life processes? Nutrition, respiration, the translocation and the excretion, such as nutrition, respiration, transportation and excretion. Note, an organism is said to be dead only when the brain of that organism has died off. That means there is no oxygen supply in the brain and then the brain dies off. In the ECG it is being shown that there is no any activity present in the brain. There is no activity present in the brain, then only the person is said to be clinically dead. A person is said to be clinically dead when there is no activity of the brain. This definition is only applicable in the case of higher eukaryotic organisms, especially in the case of vertebrates. Okay, applicable only in the case of vertebrates. Okay, now the different life processes. अगर आप बोलते हैं कि आप जिंदा हैं तो क्या होना चाहिए जिंदगी के लिए? अरे जिंदगी के लिए 4 लाइफ प्रोसेसेस होने चाहिए। कौन कौन से? न्यूट्रिशन, रेस्पिरेशन, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एंड एक्सक्रीशन। और कोई जरूरी नहीं है लाइफ के लिए, यही 4 लाइफ प्रोसेसेस जरूरी हैं। कौन कौन से? न्यूट्रिशन, रेस्पिरेशन, अनुलोम विलोम, हमारे बाबा रामदेव, ठीक है। देन the transportation, movement from one place to another, although Modi ji has banned it out, घर पे रहे, safe रहे। and the last one is excretion, oh सबका पेट खराब हो जाएगा, ठीक है, that is referred to as excretion. So these are the 4 life processes which are essentially required for life. जीने के लिए 4 life processes की बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है। वो है न्यूट्रिशन, रेस्पिरेशन, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन एंड एक्सक्रीशन, just 4 of them. Life processes includes the following 4 fundamental life processes. First is referred to as nutrition. The second is referred to as respiration. The third one is referred to as translocation. Location. Translocation or transportation, they are the same thing. And the fourth one is referred to as excretion. Now, what do you mean by nutrition? Nutrition refers to all those life processes that are essentially required to acquire the different types of nutrition, different types of nutrients which are required by your body. It refers to all the life processes, all the physiological processes involved in the acquisition of nutrients, minerals, vitamins required for the living organism. Okay. Cellular respiration. Cellular respiration or respiration refers to the gaseous exchange between the living organism and the external surrounding. We all use nutrient to be absorbed in our body, or they can be produced in the case of plants, the autotrophic ones. We are heterotrophs. So this nutrition is being absorbed in our body, that is being oxidized, and the energy that is being produced through this cellular respiration, through this oxidation, drives the different life processes. मैंने आपको पहले ही लाइफ की डेफिनेशन बोली थी। लाइफ है क्या? लाइफ बायोकेमिकल प्रोसेसेस से मिलकर बनी हुई है, जिसके अंदर बायोकेमिकल मॉलिक्यूल्स रिएक्ट करते हैं, एनर्जी प्रोड्यूस होती है, एनर्जी को आप इस्तेमाल कर लेते हो, तो यही तो लाइफ है। तो वी आर जस्ट मेड अप ऑफ एरेज ऑफ केमिकल रिएक्शंस वर्किंग टुगेदर in order to capture energy. That energy is being utilized, or that energy which is present in the living organism is being used in the process of respiration, so that our body can generate the amount of ATP. So respiration, it is an oxidative process, an oxidative process in which the food materials are oxidized, in order to liberate large amount of energy. In order to liberate large amount of energy. Okay, from food. Okay, translocation. The term translocation, whenever you are using the term translocation refers to the movement of molecules from one location to the other. Movement of molecules or the movement of an entire organism intracellular or extracellular movement. Translocation refers to both movement of molecules or movement of an organism is referred to as translocation. Excretion, the removal of harmful nitrogenous waste from the body is called as excretion. हमारी बॉडी में जो भी वेस्ट प्रोडक्ट बच जाते हैं उनको बाहर निकालने का प्रोसेस को हम क्या बोलते हैं? एक्सक्रीशन. द रिमूवल ऑफ excess, the removal of nitrogenous waste, the process for the removal of nitrogenous waste from our body is referred to as excretion. The process of the removal of nitrogenous wastes, waste from our body is referred to as excretion. It is referred to as excretion. Now, the last thing that must be remembered is that the hierarchy of living organism. How the hierarchy of cells in our body is being arranged. The hierarchy of cells of living organism is that cell, the structure and functional unit of our life, is being organized into certain groups called as tissues. Tissues refers to the group of cell that performs the same function. क्लास के अंदर क्लास शुरू होती है तो बच्चे अलग अलग जगह पे बैठे होते हैं, ईयर की नई नई शुरुआत हुई है, बच्चे अभी क्लास 10th में आए हैं या क्लास 11th में आए, एक दूसरे को जानते नहीं हैं, तो ये क्या है? ये है सेल्स. The structure and functional unit of life in your body is cell. Now after a certain period of time, after 1 month, 2 months, then what happens? The groups are being produced, good friends are being made. Some will have their own group, the eagle gang in this class, and another one is there, the Bichu gang. Okay, so their groups are being produced and those are referred to as tissue. Cardiac tissue, the skeleton tissues, intestinal tissue, nervous tissue. So these are different types of tissues that are being produced in our body by the group of cells that perform the same structure, that perform the same function. फ्रेंडशिप किनके बीच में होती है? वो जो सेम तरीके से सोचते हैं, जो सोचते हैं आज बंक मारेंगे क्लास में, आज टीचर को दुखी करेंगे, तो उन्हीं के बीच में दोस्ती हो जाती है. That is how you form tissues. These tissues will lead to the formation of organ system, and this organ system will lead to the formation of organism. This is how our body is being produced. Large number of cells associate to form tissues. हमारे बॉडी के सेल्स, कोशिकाएं जिसे आप हिंदी में बोलते हैं, वो टिश्यू बना लेते हैं. Tissues forms organ system. Different types of tissues. Cardiac muscular tissues will form the circulatory system. The skeletal muscles will form the muscular system and locomotion. The nervous tissue will form the nervous system, and these systems combine together in our body and lead to the formation of an organism such as Homo sapien, such as your dog, the Corvus domesticus, and the other different types of organisms. All the organisms are made up of the different types of systems which are present in their body. Okay, so with this I'm just finishing off my first lecture. Hope you enjoyed it.